Hey there, I'm Coach Micheal Burt, the Super Coach. Every week coming to you from the Greatness Factory. When are you going to step into your greatness? And today we're going to tackle one of the biggest missing structures I see coaching lots and lots of people every single week, and that is how to follow up appropriately. How to move people off the fence. But what if I told you, when I wrote this little book, $1 Million Follow-Up, okay, I wrote it because I see how so many people follow up with me, and it's either they don't follow up, or they halfway follow up, or they don't know how to follow up in a way that creates action and a defined urgency. But today we're not just going to talk about following up on prospects. We're going to talk about partnerships, affiliates. What about following up on your dreams? What about following up on things you said you were going to do in your lifetime? So today you're watching Super Coach. I'm Coach Micheal Burt, and the topic is $1 Million Follow-Up. Come on and join us. Hey guys, this is Coach Micheal Burt. I am so glad you joined me for Super Coach. I believe a good coach can change your life. I believe a good coach will have conversations with you don't want to have, make you do some things you don't want to do, help you become something you didn't think you could become. You see, you can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. You can't reach your own potential without the help of another person helping you break through those ceilings of success. I'm Coach Micheal Burt, and I'm going to find the kryptonite in your life, and I'm going to do it on this show, Super Coach. Welcome to Super Coach. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. It is Tuesday, right, Jack? Yes. Seems like it's been a long week already of pushing and shoving and trying to take a message to the world. And I tell people every day there's 4 things that I do as a Super Coach. 1, I pitch my services to new people every day because I got to feed the pipeline. Number 2, I spend a lot of time closing people who have indicated interest. Number 3, I spend time onboarding new customers. And number 4, I spend time loving on my biggest customers. And today, we're going to extract one piece of that. And we're going to talk about this. Will Webb, out there watching us today. Who else out there? Amy Rocket, Richard Neese. We're going to talk about this concept of how do you create a defined urgency? How do you create a sense of urgency? How do you follow up? This is all from my little book, $1 Million Follow-Up. And I wrote this book really just randomly. It was not in the queue for me to write it. I was just flying on airplanes, and I was watching how people follow up with me. They don't follow up with phone calls. They didn't follow up with text messages. You got to spend a lot of time getting their attention. And I'm like, man, people are so pitiful at how they follow up. We get lazy and undisciplined. So here's the deal. How much money, Travis Johnson, Bill Maddox, Lori Smith, are we losing because we don't do a good job following up? And so I got mad about it one day, and I was like, man, this is a big missing structure. So I sat down on 3 plane rides to New Jersey, and I wrote the book, $1 Million Follow-Up. Okay? And it's a very impactful book. But I talk about what the purpose of the follow-up is. So I want to break this down in today's show, Richard Pearl, because if I could show you how much money, if I could quantify how much money people lose in poor follow-up, in opportunity lost, in partnerships that never come to fruition, in dreams that never materialize, all because people get lazy and complacent in their follow-up. It's like, man, you're not only losing money, which could be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, you're also losing dreams. You're also losing potential, which is what grief comes from, is because, hey, I wasted X number of years of my life just not getting off the fence and taking action. So let's break the follow-up down into certain things today. First, we're going to look at the purpose of the follow-up. The purpose of the follow-up, Beth, is to rekindle the initial attraction to something. Okay, I want you to really understand, is here's what it looks like. There is a potential opportunity for you. You share your explanation of services or your vision. That person indicates interest. They typically indicate interest with one thing, their body language. Their eyes light up. They lean in. They show you their posture. I'm interested in you. We leave that meeting, Sarah Grace, Richard Neese, Tom Farrell, we leave that meeting of interest and energy only to lose all of that chemistry and trust and attraction that we had. Because I may take a meeting in the morning at 8 o'clock that's a breakfast meeting, and I'm like, this is good. I'm in, I'm interested. And by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I've already taken 8 other meetings. And they were all interesting, and they were all good. So just know this, the purpose of the follow-up is really to rekindle the initial attraction. This is one reason we're using video so much, is because video, Leo Martinez, Anita Long, Brittany Renee Brandon, the video is the closest thing I can get to that chemistry and energy that we had face to face. And let me tell you where that energy comes. Conviction, baby. I am convicted that what I have can change your life. That's how convicted you need to be. And so I'm coaching my monster producers today, online in accountability session, and I'm coaching my monster producers, Scott Lumley, and here's what I'm asking them. How many of you are pitching your services, 3 to 5 people a day? How many of you are pitching your services? And everybody said, I'm not pitching my services enough. You're not. You need to have a hit list every day of pitching your services. But in addition to that hit list of people you're pitching your services to, you need to be becoming world class at how you rekindle the initial attraction between you and an interested party. So the first purpose of a follow-up is to rekindle the attraction that we had. We had energy, we had chemistry, we had likability. You got something that I want, I'm interested, okay? But then I got distracted by noise and the world and the current of the urge. It's not my job to follow up with you. It's your job to follow up with me. So that's the first purpose of the follow-up, is there was interest and energy here, but we lost it the minute we left the meeting. So I got to come back to you and rekindle that. So we can do it with a voicemail, we can do it with video, we can do it with any way, the closest thing to the in-person, or we can do it in person. The second reason of the follow-up is to articulate how I can solve your problem better than anybody else. Now listen, you hear me say it, it's in all of my books, money changes hands when problems are solved. Money changes hands when problems are solved. So when I follow up with people, I clearly articulate, this is your missing structure. This is your problem. These are the 3 ways that I would solve it, but I cannot help you, Roy Frazier, until you commit. And when you step across that line, I ain't going to let you fail, man. I ain't going to let you fail, because if you fail, I fail, okay? Now, when you're following up with people, you're going to meet all kinds of objection, and we're going to get in that in the next segment. So here's what I want to do. I gave you the purpose of the follow-up in segment 1. In segment 2, I'm going to show you how to follow up, okay? How to follow up, 7 great touches. And in segment 3, I'm going to teach you how to overcome objection, because objection is just something impeding you from taking an idea and bringing it to fruition, okay? And that's what we're talking about today on Super Coach. Let me give you some kryptonite to get you out of here on segment 1. Kryptonite's the one thing holding you back. You got visions, but you don't follow up on them. You got dreams. You got visions. You got ideas. But ideas are a dime a dozen, man. Ideas are a dime a dozen. You know what great people do? They take ideas and they follow up on their dreams. That's what we're talking today. In segment number 2, I'm going to show you how to follow up by being a challenger versus a relationship builder. I'm going to show the difference between how challengers follow up, which are what top producers are, and how relationship builders follow up, because they do something you should never, ever do. Man, that's a good lead into segment 2. Come on back in segment 2. You're watching Super Coach. Today we're talking $1 million follow-up. Hey, this is Coach Micheal Burt, and have you ever been to a retreat where you got to get away from the pressure of the world and just talk business, talk ideas, but also mix business with pleasure? You see, a few weeks ago, I spent time in Seaside, Florida with some of my good friends, and man, I had so many breakthroughs. I was able to reinvent, reimagine my business, and I said, I have got to create a way for people to come together and go on a retreat with me. So we've developed the Super Retreat with the Super Coach, September 23rd through the 26th, or September 27th through the 30th. Seaside, Florida, 4 days with me and other like-minded people. We'll mastermind in the morning, we'll spend time by the pool drinking margaritas and having fun in the afternoon, and going to dinner with each other at night. $2,500 investment, that includes your lodging and the mastermind and your lunches, and then we spend the rest of the time working on your business. Now here's the deal, I can only take 10 people at each of these nice big houses. Everybody gets their own bedroom. That $2,500 includes 2 people. If you like to bring a friend or your spouse, come to Seaside with me in September and go on a super retreat with the Super Coach. And I promise you, you'll have the big ideas you needed and the refreshment you needed to finish the year strong. Welcome back, Super Coach. Every week coming to you from the Greatness Factory. Multiply your life, multiply your money, multiply your business. And the follow-up, Will Webb, Shay Horseman, Omar, Anthony Capullo. The follow-up is where everything is, man. You've heard it before. The fortune is in the follow-up. It is in the follow-up. So I wrote this book, $1 Million Follow-Up. A little book, I don't know, 6,000 words. And I really break down the follow-up. And one thing I give in the follow-up is the 7-touch follow-up system. Now, you say, why 7 touches? Statistics tell me it takes 7 to 15 touches, 80% of the time, Carrie Latham, to convert a prospect to a buyer. Well, if you tell me you're going to win 80% of the time by following up 7 times, 7 to 15, then I'm going to follow up Owen Schrock 7 to 15 touches. Now, when do I make up my mind if I'm going to go the distance with you? So Owen Schrock is out there in the world. I spoke for him in Erie, Pennsylvania last week at the Roofing Association. Man, had a great time. If he indicates interest, when I first pitch my services to him, during what we call the explanation of services, when I lead with, Owen, this is what we believe. This is why we believe it. This is what we do. This is how we do it different. Typically in the first 15 seconds, I know if Owen is interested. And at that moment, I make up my mind if I'm interested in him. He's making up his mind if he's interested in me, but I'm actually running him through a filter. Is he an enlightened person? Does he have the time, the interest, and the money? Will this be a vested partnership? This is quick calculation. Am I listening to him make excuses? Do I want to work with him? Is he whining? Is he complaining? You see what I'm saying? And I'm making up my mind about him in 15 seconds. Now, if I make up my mind that I am interested in him and he is interested in me, I'm going the distance, baby. Because I've already made up my mind that an object at rest will stay at rest unless acted on by an outside force. An object in motion will stay in motion unless acted on by an outside force. So here's what's happening. That's Newton's law. People are in motion. We had a meeting. We had chemistry. They indicated interest. Now they're in motion. They're going to stay in motion unless they're acted on by an outside force. Who's the outside force? You are. So I'm going to make up my mind that I'm going to go 7 touches with Owen Schrock, and I'm going to stay in the boat with him, and I'm going to create a defined urgency. And the way I'm going to create a defined urgency, it's all in this little book, $1 Million Follow-Up. You can get it at CoachBurt.com, is I talk about 7 touches. I talk about the 7 touches, okay? And building a great 7-touch follow-up. So here's my 7 touches. I'm going to give them to you right out of the book. Number 1, my first touch is this. I'm going to get your attention to get the meeting. We teach this in Monster Producer. For all the people like Will Webb that are in Monster Producer and Cena Martin that's in Monster Producer, all the people watching me that are in Monster Producer, you know this. We got to have some bait. Bait is cheese on the mousetrap. You got something that we want. What is it? Knowledge, skill, desire, confidence, likability, connectivity, networks. You got energy. You got something that I want. So I got to get your attention, number 1. If I don't get your attention, here's what I say. Tammy Jeffers, have you noticed how hard I've worked to get your attention? Jimmy Driver, has anybody else working this hard to get your attention? Or I may say, look, I'll take full responsibility for not being able to get your attention, but I got some good bait over here, and this is a solution to your problem. Now, you're going to meet some weak objection. I'm busy, okay? I just posted this on Facebook. Busy is an excuse for unorganized. Big-time people do not ever say they're too busy, they're covered up, they're at capacity, they're overwhelmed. If you are using that phraseology, just get rid of it. Because I guarantee you there's somebody in your industry doing 10 or 20 times more than you are. So when you share this to get their attention, oh, I'm just too busy, I'm just so busy. Okay, I had a guy tell us this today. Coach, I'm in another state. I'm on my way to a conference. It's not a good time to talk. You know what I said? Can your brain not work in another state, man? I mean, who am I talking to here, man? My brain works when I go to another state. I can talk on the phone and ride in a car at the same time. That's what I said, man. And then I said, look, hey, Can you multitask? Can you talk on the phone and ride in the car at the same time? Just because you're in another state, man, does not mean your brain don't work, okay? So I call people out. I know you may say, man, that's a little strong. Look, I'm at a point in my life that I don't tolerate a lot of BS. Do not listen to low-level excuses. So first thing is I got to get your attention. That's touch one. After I get your attention, I get a commitment for a face-to-face on the phone. I get a commitment, okay? And I say, this is what we believe. This is why we believe it, Micheal Prescott. This is what it is I do. This is how we do it different. This is all the people we're doing it for. Now, can we get a commitment for a face-to-face? Because if we get face-to-face or on the phone, I can articulate how we can solve your problem. That's touch two. We get the face-to-face meeting or on the phone. I immediately follow up with an email that summarizes the commitments that are going to happen in timelines. So I say, Micheal, you and I had an unbelievable meeting. Thank you. Loved your energy. Loved your chemistry. I believe I can help you, and we believe the same things. So there's two things you said that you needed, and there's two ways I would solve this problem. Now, Micheal, every day we don't take action, we're losing money. We're losing momentum. We're losing energy. So the faster we can get you to take action, the better off we're going to be, okay? So touch number 3 is typically a summary. Touch 4 is a phone call, recommitment. Because I see a lot of people commit and then they decommit. They get all jacked up and energetic, they commit and they decommit. Now, all this is barring in this $1 million follow-up that they actually want your product or service. Like I have people that follow up with me like champions, but their product and service is not very good. So they can't overcome a strong follow-up. Just because you're great at following up does not mean that you can overcome a crappy product or service. You may be the best follow-up person. Now, if you are, I may want to hire you on my sales team, but I don't want to buy your product. And your reputation always precedes you. Okay? So your reputation walks in the door before you do. So it's like, hey, man, I've done my homework on you, and people are saying you're not very good. You're doing great at follow-up, but your product is not good. You're not delivering on your promise, which causes me to decommit on you. Okay, you're doing a great job following up, but I don't want your product or service. Okay, touch number 5, show proof of concept. So what I will do is I'll say, hey, Cena, hey, Jimmy Driver, let me show you 3 cases. Let me show you 3 things of where I've worked with people just like you to show an increase of 43%. Here's the methodology we used. Here's what we did for them. If we could do it for them, could we do it for you? So touch number 5 is I show proof of concept. Touch number 6, I have some of my biggest hitters, Jamie Hendrick. I have my biggest hitters and my biggest success stories pick up the phone and call them. Hey, Jamie, this is Brandon Burks. I've been in Coach Burt's program. He helped me go from 0 to $72 million in the first 6 years of mortgage business. If he did it for me, man, I know he can do it for you. Like gravitates toward like. Association breeds assimilation. So touch 6 is I go to the well. And I go get my big hitters, and I say, I need you to pick up the phone and call them. I'm working on a mortgage company right now, probably $15 billion mortgage company. Can't get the guy's attention. I've had 2 people call him, still not got his attention. Now I'm getting ready to go deep in my bench and have the big dog call him. Now, we're on 6 touches now. I got your attention, had the face-to-face, right? Sent the summary, followed up with a phone call. Okay, show proof of concept. Have my big hitters call you. We ain't making any progress. So here comes touch number 7. Here comes touch number 7 is this. Have you noticed how hard we have worked to earn your business? You and I believe the same things. I showed you what it is we do. I showed you how we do it different than everybody else. I've even shown you everybody we've done it for. What in the world is stopping us from doing business with each other? Have you seen enough to make a decision? And if you haven't by now, then maybe you just don't get it or you rode the slow bus into school today, okay? And so I got to move on to somebody else, all right? I love you, but there's 7 billion people in the world. So a lot of people tell me, hey, I'm curious. Curious is good. And if you're curious in my product, it means you're interested at some level, but you ain't curious enough. If you're constantly pushing me off, you're not curious enough, or I have done a poor job. Now, a great salesperson takes full responsibility for the totality of the velocity of the sale. I fully believe that. So if you're not getting meetings, you're not interesting enough, you don't have good bait, if your follow-up is going on deaf ears, maybe you hadn't articulated well enough, or you haven't gone the distance, but you're losing money. We come back in the final segment. I'm going to show you how I overcome objection, like comments like I'm in another state, so my brain ain't working today. I'm going to show you what I say to people when I get on the phone. The first thing you got to make up your mind is, look, I don't have to have your business, I'd like to have it, but I don't have to have it. Okay? The Bible talks about the sower and the reaper enjoying the harvest together. Well, if I'm going to sow into you, let's enjoy the harvest together. That means there's a win for me and a win for you. It's not just a one-sided relationship where we do all the work and you complain about it. You have got to engage. So let me give you some kryptonite, and then I got one more segment. Kryptonite is you can get people's attention, but you can't keep it. Make no mistake about this. Make no mistake about this. This is a game for attention. Maybe you had it for a second, but you lost it. It's your job to keep it. So what do you have to do? Stay in their face. Today we're talking $1 Million Follow-Up. I'm Coach Micheal Burt. I'm at the Greatness Factory. Come see me sometime, man. You may want to come up and get a couple copies of the book, $1 Million Follow-Up. Right, Jack? $1 Million Follow-Up. Listen, this is it right here, man. Come on down and get you a copy of the little book, CoachBurt.com, and follow up on your dreams. When we come back in the final segment, here's what I'm going to hit. How do you overcome objection when you get soft objection on your follow-up? You're watching Super Coach, and I'm Coach Micheal Burt. My name is Coach Micheal Burt, and I have a very basic premise. I believe everybody needs a coach in life. Every single week I come to you, multiply your life and your money and your business. It's about seeing something through to its logical conclusion. It's about going from a little baby star to a big star and practicing and getting better and digging in and fighting through. I see work as the distribution channel for your God-given talents. How many people believe behind every great number one is a great number two? I wrote that little book called Changing Lives Through Coaching because I believe what? A good coach can change your life. Welcome back, Super Coach. We're laughing here at the Greatness Factory. We're laughing because of this concept of, my brain don't work in another state. Can you call me back? And I'm like, man, unless you go into another planet, it works. Okay, call back. Okay, we're interested in you. We can talk to people on Mars today, right? We can talk to people on Uranus today. We can talk to people on another planet today. Surely to goodness, we can get in touch with you unless you're not interested, okay? So when we come back, let me talk about this. I got to talk about my man, the Big Kahuna, because he follows up great. Shane Ray, in-monster producer. Aloha Air, just call aloha.com, and this old cat will follow up with you like a madman because he does what he's coached to do. And he's the Big Kahuna. He takes something very boring and makes it interesting. And he's big in monster producer, big supporter of mine, and official sponsor of the podcast of CoachBurt.com on Super Coach. So just call aloha.com. The Big Kahuna, you can't miss him. He's got the white bill, flat billed hat on, got the white jacket, got the flowery shirt, got the cool vehicle, says just call Aloha, and he takes something real boring and makes it interesting. Now, we're talking follow-up, right, Big Kahuna? Cena Martin, Michelle Prescott. See, we're talking how do you follow up? So when you do follow up in these 7 touches, guess what you're going to hear? Crappy objections. What are those objections going to look like? I'm too busy. Got to talk to my wife. Got to talk to my husband. Got to meditate on it. Got to medicate on it. Got to pray about it. Got to think about it. Got to sleep on it. Got to get myself ready. Timing's not right. These are all little objections that people give you. So in the book, $1 Million Follow-Up, which is what I'm talking about today, those are all excuses. Just so busy today. Just can't answer the phone. For all the people that I called today that their voicemail boxes are full, how do you expect anybody to do business with you, man? You can't do business with a person that your voicemail box is full. Okay? I've called one woman in Chattanooga 17 times and she's never answered. What if I wanted to buy a $10 million house in Chattanooga on the lake? But she don't call anybody back and she don't respond. Because her follow-up is so pitiful. And then some people that follow up do a great job following up, but like I said, they cannot back it up with the product or service. So when you have a great product or service that solves a real problem, and you can back it up and substantiate, then you got to follow up. So how do you overcome objection? So in the book, I talk about a lot of these things. What do I say when I hear objection? Okay, here's some of the objections that I get, okay? I only have 20 minutes to spend with you to pitch your services. Here's what I say. Good. I've only got 18. Okay, when I'm done, you're going to be ready to go to round 2. You're going to be ready to extend the 20 minutes to 40 minutes. Okay, here's another one. I need to talk to my wife and think about it. Okay, I don't even know if I can read this one. In my house, my wife and I have such a strong relationship, she trusts my business decisions. She leads the house and I lead the business. I don't have to consult with her on every decision, okay? Say that to a man, he'll really get fired up. Here's one. I need to sleep on it. If you had to sleep on it, you probably ain't going to sleep in it, man. This is a fluid market. We're moving fast. Somebody will most likely take this opportunity if you got to sleep on it. Let me review the website. Why would you want to review the website when you're talking to the person who created the content on the website? See, I hear that one a lot. Let me just look it over. Let me look over the one sheet in the website, okay? And so when you think about this, here's what we're talking about today, okay? This is not in our budget. Here's what I say. Have you ever eaten a great steak at a steakhouse and went over budget because the food was that good? Of course, man. You can dine on filet mignon. You can dine on 99-cent hamburgers. You always get what you pay for, okay? These are all excuses. It's not a good time for me to talk. Well, it wasn't a good time for me to call, but I'm calling you because you asked me to call you back. You asked me to follow up, okay? So you'll hear me say a lot when I'm trying to close a person. I say we lose 10% of momentum every day we don't act. What's the real objection? Have you seen enough to make a decision? We're losing momentum here. Have you noticed how hard we've worked to earn your business? Okay, now, if they're not moving and you both believe the same things and you've showed them what you do and you've done a good job of showing them, because a lot of people do not break it down and reduce it to the ridiculous, as Dan Elam says. They don't break it down to here's what we can do for you. Here's your problem. Here's our solution. Here's how much it costs, okay? A lot of people do a very poor job of articulating that. But if you have, if we agree, we believe the same things, great. I've showed you what we do. I've showed you how we do it. I've showed you how we do it different than everybody else. I've even showed you who we have done it for. What is stopping you from taking action? Now, if they're not taking action for now, it's most likely in their brain they cannot extract themselves from a current situation to come to you. So this is very important. Okay, you have not given them validation enough for them to leave who they're with to come to you. Or maybe they don't think, maybe here's what we find a lot of times. People had a coach at some point in their life and it didn't work. I mean, we had a person today that spent $8,000 on a coach and nothing happened. They never moved the needle. So they bring that skepticism into the relationship with us. Why would I spend money on a coach? I had a coach and it didn't work. Well, if you had a bozo for a coach, it ain't going to work. If you had a coaching program where you get one phone call a week for 20 minutes with somebody that don't know you or don't know your business or there's no live event or there's no accountability, it's not going to work. So what they're doing is they're bringing skepticism in to the deal with you. And so you have to fight that skepticism. I did it yesterday with a young lady in real estate. I said, let me tell you the differences and articulate the differences between what we're offering and what they're offering, okay? And then you can make an educated decision. But sometimes you're a great salesman, but the product is not a great product, or they just don't want the product. They're not interested in the product. So I use lots of phrases to create a defined sense of urgency, but they gotta see what it is I see. And if they don't, it's okay. Some will, some won't. So what? Okay? That's kind of how you need to look at it. If you're spending a lot amount of time on a person and they just can't see the value, I've been texting a guy who told me he wanted to get into coaching in June. Look, I'm probably going to go one more touch. But then I'm out, man. I'm not going to sit here and beg people to get in. I'm only looking for people who are looking for me, okay? And today may not be the right day, but those are all the things that's going on. So let's recap. What's the purpose of the follow-up? Number 1, rekindle the initial attraction. Number 2, show how your solution can solve their problem better than anybody else. Number 3, overcome any objection that they may have because of past relationships, current relationships, skepticism they bring to the party, whatever the case may be. Number 4, how many times do you need to go? Minimum of 7 to 15 touches if you think there's potential. Okay. Number 5, how do you follow up? You create a defined sense of urgency as you attack the problem and you overcome the objection. And you're going to get a lot of objection. Call me back, all the things I said today. And a skilled professional is going to be able to come back with a real solution and say, I validate your point. I get it. You haven't seen enough to make a decision or something's holding you back. What is it? Let's put it on the table, okay? But I hear people all the time say, I'm busy, blah, 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 this, right? Blake Finney, Tom Farrell, Kerry Latham, Jason Gully. These are all just excuses. Big time people, just imprint this in your brain. Big time people do not use the excuse of being busy for anything. They don't say, well, I'm too busy to chase my dreams. I'm too busy to make $10 million. Somebody out there is doing production much higher than you. Trust me. And they're finding a way to fit it all in their life and still have a personal life and still do everything. So they have figured out how to follow up on their dreams. You may not have because you're still using excuses. But they have figured out how to do it. And if they can do it, you can do it. And I'll close with this one. Rachel Bunn, good to see you. We had a company that I'm coaching that comes into the Greatness Factory every month. And most of the time, man, some of these folks just bitch and moan, make excuses about not producing. And I listened to it for a while. And the sales managers over there are like, come on, man. It's just, the sales manager's about to go nuts. Always blaming things. And I finally stopped it by saying this. I said, what does the top person in your company make? They said $350,000. And I said, so you're telling me there's a person that does the exact same thing you do, selling the exact same product, got the same operations team, got the same budget, got the same everything you got, and he's earning $350,000. Everybody here that's saying they're too busy is earning under $60,000 or $70,000, maybe $100,000, and you got a guy that's selling the exact same product you do, same circumstance you do, making $350,000. And they said it like this: if he can do it, you can do it. End the discussion. So when you think about this, never be too busy to follow up. Never be too busy to follow up on your dreams and to follow up with prospects and to push, because why? An object at rest stays at rest unless acted on by an outside force. You have got to be the outside force. Now, we teach this concept in Monster Producer. And if you're not in Monster Producer, let me ask you this. Have you seen enough to make a decision? Why are you not in Monster Producer? My monsters are earning, some of them between $500,000 and $5 million. And they come every 30 days, and we follow up with them like crazy, and we have high touch and high frequency and I just did accountability session today. You need to be in that coaching program, and you got to get in the class, and you got to absorb the content, and you got to let the coaching do its work. You're not too busy to get coached. If I got people in the program making $2 to $5 million, and they show up, okay, you got to get in. You got to let it do its work in you, okay? That's part of the follow-up process. So let me give you some kryptonite, and I'll get you out of here. And if you're not coming to Seaside, September 23rd through the 26th, I think I only got 2 spots left, Jack. Maybe 2. For masterminding with me and Scott Nagy down in Florida. Scott Nagy was 2015 Best in Business, turnaround expert, millionaire. He's going to be down there with me, and we're going to be staying in a big house, and I got room for 7 people at each session. Everybody's got their own room, includes 2 people, $2,500. You better let me know today, because I'm telling you, it's going to fill up. Here's the kryptonite. You are a relationship builder versus a challenger, and you don't move people off the fence. So what's the difference? I promise you, I'll tell you. Challengers create a healthy tension between them and the prospects. Relationship builders supplicate. Relationship builders want to be liked. Challengers are such experts, they push. They challenge. Not in a mean way, but in a way that says, I know what I'm doing. I can help you. 40% of all top producers, 40% of all top producers are challengers. End of discussion. 10% are relationship builders. And relationship builders leave messages like, I know you're real busy. Can I just get some of your time? You have got to be a person of authority. Go back and watch my show on person of power and influence. You got to be such an authority figure. You say, man, I ain't messing around. Okay? I'm a big-time person, and I have a solution to your problem. You may or may not want it. Okay? And if you don't, move on to the next one. Okay? Do you see it? If you don't see it, maybe it's time to move on. Every week, Jack, tell these people, Belinda shows Errender. What's up, girl? You definitely a challenger, Belinda. Ain't nobody do $100 million in mortgage production and not be a challenger. I can tell you that right now. So listen, be an expert. If you need me to give you permission, I just gave it to you, okay? Pick up a copy of $1 Million Follow-Up. We got copies right here. Buy one for your whole sales team, man. Get them in the get their mojo going. Get their swag going, okay? And want to come to Seaside with me and mastermind with me September. It's going to be a great experience. We got a lot of cool people going. And if you want to know more about Monster Producer, go to CoachBurt.com, click on coaching. I would love to do a free consult, or just come see me one time for free on me. See if you like the coaching style, because I will be a little challenger for you, man. I will push you. I will challenge you. But I promise you, I can get you to the next level. Everybody needs a coach in life, guys. Thank you so much for letting me be yours. Hey, you. Yes, I'm talking to you. Have you ever had cotton candy? Tastes good for a second and then it all goes away. Well, that's what you got when you came and heard me speak. It tasted good. It tasted real good, didn't it? You liked it. You were interested. And you know what I reminded you of? Your potential. That kinetic energy that's stored inside of you that's waiting to come out. But you know what you know? You don't have a coach in your life. See, I can't really do the work I need to in you until you commit to a coaching program. You see, I define coaching as a set of systematic and consistent behaviors that allows you to do something tomorrow you cannot do today. You got the confidence, you got the energy, you got the swag, but what you don't have are the systems and the structures and the accountability, and that's what my coaching program will provide for you. You need to be a monster producer. Monthly coaching, live or online. We send you the replay the very next week. You get a condensed version in the third week. Mastermind in the fourth week. Accountability sessions every single week. Every monster I'm coaching is averaging 43% increase or more. Why are you not in the program? You see, that day I reminded you what a good coach can do for you. Now it's time for you to take action. I can't help you until you commit. Will you sign up for Monster Producer? I know Bill Maddox has been working you. Now it's time for me to work you. Commit to your potential. I'm Coach Micheal Burt, and I will see you in Monster Producer.